Close your eyes and let history breathe beside you. From Rome to Angkor Wat, a dream across empires. Sleep well, with Pillow of Time. You are lying in a dark room. Outside the window, the night is quiet. You think of a simple question. If you woke up in the year 212 AD, in the heart of the glorious Roman Empire, could you survive even one day? You open your eyes. The smell of mold, leather, and dust fills your nose. You are lying on an old wooden bed, no mattress, just a pile of dry straw spread out. A cramped room, stone-floored with cracked walls. A small window looks out onto the stone-paved street outside. The sun has just risen, and Rome has been awake for a long time. The sound of horse hooves, the screech of wooden wheels, the voices of street vendors echoing in the distance. You get up, wash your face with cold water from a jar. There is no soap. Breakfast? A piece of hard, dry bread, a few figs or salted olives. If you're lucky, you might find some leftover barley porridge from last night. You are a commoner, not wealthy, not noble. Rome is not kind to those at the bottom of society. Work awaits you. Rome waits for no one. You step out onto the street, the glare of the sun reflecting off the cobblestones forcing you to squint. You are a mason or a construction slave. Dust, sweat, and shouts form a harsh chorus. Your hands are blistered, your back aches. Each pull on the stone feels like tearing your muscles apart. A man beside you slips, the sound of bones cracking under the stone. No one stops. The foreman snaps, keep going. No hard hats, no brakes, no hope. You think of water, but clean water is a luxury. Public fountains may be contaminated. Sometimes drinking from them causes stomach pain for days. You look at your hands, covered in dust, dried blood, and devoid of emotion. You begin to wonder, is this the end of human existence? Evening falls. You wander toward the Forum Romanum, the commercial and political center of Rome. The sounds of vendors echo from every corner. Syrian apples here, fresh salted fish from Pompeii, cheap iron helmets. The air is filled with the mingled scents of spices, animal dung, and sour wine. A group of nobles passes by, white togas, rolls of parchment in their hands. Their eyes glance through you. On the other side of the street, a group of emaciated children sing a folk song about Saturnalia. One of them grabs your sleeve and holds out his hand. You have nothing to give him, but you place an olive in his small palm. For a moment, his eyes light up. Then he runs off into a dark alley where no one is waiting for him. The sky begins to darken. You stop by the public bathhouse, a place where all social classes meet. The changing room echoes with laughter. Bare skin glistens with olive oil. You shed your dusty clothes and step into the warm water. In the steam room, you hear people chatting. What did Seneca say this week? I heard the governor's wife is pregnant with the poetry teacher's child. An old man tells stories of the Augustus era. A young woman reads poetry in the corner of the room. Her voice is like honey dripping through the mist. You close your eyes. For the first time that day, you feel human. Night falls, and you follow the crowd toward the Colosseum. Flags flutter in the wind. Torches illuminate the statue of the god of war. Inside, the smells of wine, sweat, and blood mingle like a ritual. People shout, "Av Caesar!" A gladiator steps forward, bearing scars like medals. A tiger roars, caged, waiting to be released. You see the quiet cruelty. Another slave draws his sword. The crowd cheers as blood sprays into the air. You feel a heaviness in your chest. This is Rome, where beauty and savagery coexist like friends. On the way back, you encounter an old fortune teller. Her silver hair is tangled like a crow's nest. Her eyes seem to pierce through the night. She takes your hand and whispers, "You do not belong here." She speaks of omens, of Saturn, of Mars, and of the empire's collapse. You smile softly, but for some reason your heart still feels cold. You return to the old room, hungry, tired, your heart heavy. You hear singing from afar, someone singing in ancient Greek. The song echoes like a lullaby, like a call to a time before war, before suffering. You lie down on the straw, close your eyes. The scent of Rome still surrounds you, the scent of the empire, of humanity, and of yourself, a stranger in time. Rome was beautiful, but only if you did not have to live there. If you truly lived in ancient Rome, you would not survive even half a day. And now, as you awaken in the modern world with soap, clean water, and the freedom to choose, be grateful. For dreams like these remind us, history never sleeps. It only whispers through the night. And then you wonder, if Rome was so merciless, what about the forbidden city of the East, glittering with gold and bound by strict rituals? Could you survive even a single day there? Rest your head on the pillow, listen closely, for in the next episode, the gates of the Forbidden City under Emperor QianLong will open. Thank you for staying with me through this long night. Sleep well, with Pillow of Time. You open your eyes. A light knock of a wooden bell echoes in the morning mist. You don't know where you are. Before you is a long wooden hall painted red with ivory-colored walls. A dozen boys in blue robes sit cross-legged, heads bowed over books bound in deerskin. You are a student in the Imperial Academy, during the reign of Emperor QianLong. The year is 1745. You do not know Chinese characters. You have not memorized the 4 books and 5 classics, and you have just misspelled Confucius's name. The bell stops. A soft flute begins to play. An old man with a long white beard walks in, wearing a deep gray robe, holding a jade ruler. He doesn't look at anyone. He says only one word, read. The entire class recites in perfect unison. At birth, people are naturally good. A quiet, steady chant, not a beat out of place. You slowly turn the page. Your eyes aren't used to these ancient characters. Each stroke feels like a maze, and you are lost. A jade ruler taps your desk. What's your name? The teacher asks, without looking. You say nothing, because you don't know who you are. He says no more. He turns to leave. But just before he walks out, he says, if you haven't memorized the great learning by tomorrow, don't come back. The third watch drum sounds. The students leave silently. Wooden clogs echo off the cold stone courtyard. You follow them to a wooden building behind the library. Lunch is rationed. 1 bowl of cold rice, a few pickled vegetables, a little weak tea. No meat, no spice, no choice. You sit beneath the shadow of the tall city wall. Sunlight doesn't reach this spot. A breeze from Tai Lake carries the scent of withered lotus. A boy smaller than you, pale and trembling, holds a pair of chopsticks. His eyes are red. He was beaten this morning for writing the character for middle incorrectly. You want to ask if it hurts, but you remember, students are not allowed to speak during meals. In the distance, a group of eunuchs passes by. They don't look at the students. Yet everyone bows their heads. You bow too, but you catch a glimpse on a tray carried by one of them, steamed fish, braised pork, a jade bottle of wine. You swallow. Not from hunger, but because you suddenly remember who you are, and that this place is not meant for you. Afternoon, the 4th watch drum sounds. Everyone returns to class. Today's lesson, the Analects. The teacher reads, the class transcribes, you hold your brush, but your mind is elsewhere. You rest your head on your desk, claiming a stomach ache. The teacher doesn't look your way. Silently, you slip out and head for the library. It's quiet there. A pomegranate tree outside. A door slightly ajar. You push gently. Inside a long hall, high ceiling, warm yellow light. The scent of old paper and ink wraps around you. On the desk, a scroll lies open. You peer closer. Handwriting in delicate cursive. Melancholy. Timeless. You read, in dreams there is affection. Outside dreams, no peace. You recognize it. A letter from Cao Shuiqin, author of Dream of the Red Chamber. You reach for the paper. Who are you? Who let you in here? A eunuch in black robes stands at the door. His eyes sharp as blades. You don't answer. You run. Clogs clatter behind you through corridors, across the garden, past the lake. Your breath hitches, heart pounds like war drums. You duck behind a stone Qilin statue. You're not caught, but you know, you crossed a line. In the Forbidden City, some places are not for the common. Night. The Forbidden City does not sleep, but everything is silent. You return to the old classroom. Lantern light flickers on red columns. Your shadow stretches across the stone floor. The teacher is still there, Alone, a book lies open before him. He does not look up, but he knows you've come. He says, "You haven't learned the great learning. You are not one of us. Then why do you study?" You say nothing. He closes the book, gently, then speaks. To study is not to become an official, not to memorize, not to show off. To study is to hear your own voice, echoed across 1,000 years. You see his hands tremble, but his voice is carved from stone. You kneel, not to beg, not to stay, but to listen. And when the wooden bell rings the next morning, you are no longer there. You have left the forbidden city. But a part of you still sits in that classroom, beneath the oil lamp's glow, reciting, "At birth, people are naturally good," a voice drifting through centuries. And then you wonder, if a single classroom was already so suffocating, what about another place, far away on the shores of the Mediterranean? A place that guarded all human knowledge, where scrolls rose like mountains? Would a single night in the Library of Alexandria be enough to crush you? Rest your head upon the pillow and listen, for in the next episode, the fiery gates of Alexandria will open. And as you step inside, you will once again have to ask yourself, could I survive even for just one night? Thank you for walking with me through this long night. Sleep well with Pillow of Time. They say it holds all the world's knowledge. Egyptian carvings, Greek philosophy, Indian medicine, Babylonian astronomy, even the writings of lands whose names no tongue has yet spoken. You take a deep breath. You are about to enter a place that will show you how vast knowledge can be and how terrifying its death may sound. You pass through bronze gates while the sun still hangs high. Inside, the library glows with daylight. Ceilings stretch toward the clouds, marble columns gleam, and sunlight drifts through endless corridors. It breathes, it hums, it is alive with thought. Hundreds of scholars wander between rooms. An Egyptian in linen robes recites medical notes from a papyrus scroll. A Greek philosopher with a flowing beard argues about the immortality of the soul. A group from India carries wooden chests filled with dried herbs. Their scent mingles with dust and ink. A Babylonian sits beneath a pillar, charting the stars on stretched goatskin. The air vibrates with a dozen languages, a chaotic, divine symphony of human thought. Sunlight pours through the high windows, catching dust in midair, turning it to gold. Children in the corner practice the Greek alphabet, their voices uncertain, their eyes bright. Copyists race their reed pens across parchment, trying to outrun time itself. An old scholar passes you. His eyes are deep as the sea. He whispers, perhaps in Greek, perhaps in the language of dreams. Knowledge was never meant to be kept forever. It passes through us like the wind over the ocean. Remember that. You shiver. You don't yet understand, but his words linger, like prophecy. You wander deeper. In the Hall of Astronomy, golden rings rotate, mapping the heavens. A Babylonian scholar smiles. These are the orbits of the planets, he says. You stare upward, and for a heartbeat, the sky feels close enough to touch. In the Hall of Medicine, drawings of the human body line the tables, heart, lungs, liver, veins, so vivid they seem to pulse. An Egyptian scholar points at a painted heart. It is the lamp of the body, he says. Your stomach tightens. Some knowledge, you realize, can heal or kill. In the Hall of Maps, parchment oceans stretch across the floor. A young scholar looks up, smiling. The world, he says, is much larger than your imagination. Every scroll here hums with life. You reach for one. Papyrus brittle, ink fading, the scent of sap still there. But an old librarian lays his hand on yours. Not every secret, he murmurs, wants to be read. You fall silent. Awe and fear rise together in your chest. Even here, where all wisdom gathers, nothing is safe from time. Sunset. The last light drips through the windows, painting the marble red. Outside, new sounds swell, heavy, rhythmic. Not footsteps, not voices of scholars. Hooves, steel. Shouts in a tongue you don't understand, raw, violent. The library goes silent. Even the children stop reading. A single word breaks the air, shouted from beyond the gates, burn. The doors tremble, then crash open. A torch arcs through the air. It lands among fallen scrolls. The flame catches, crackles. Soft at first, then furious. Fire leaps from shelf to shelf. A wall of knowledge becomes a wall of flame. It glows like sunrise, but there will be no morning after this. Smoke coils upward. The fire devours papyrus, clay jars, the breath of centuries. But not everyone runs. Old men stay seated, scrolls in trembling hands. One begins to read aloud, another joins. Their voices weave into one trembling chant. If the paper burns, says one, we will carve it into memory. If memory burns, says another, smiling, we will sing. A song lasts longer than ashes. You stand frozen. Letters rise like black birds into the air, spin and vanish into smoke. You try to catch one. It crumbles, leaving only gray streaks across your skin. You run. Sandals slap the stone floor. The roof groans above. Fire chases like a starving beast. Maps burn. Rivers curl. Islands vanish. A chorus of screams follows, then silence. Ash swirls upward like a storm of lost souls. Someone yells, "These are the voices of our ancestors. Don't let them die." But fire doesn't care for ancestry. It only eats. You stumble into a smaller room, still untouched. Scrolls rest in peace, like sleeping children. You unroll one. Red ink on gold. Man is the longest dream of the gods. Before you can think, flames burst through. The letters curl, twist, vanish. Another scroll, equations of planets, arcs of stars, gone. You kneel, clutching an armful of books, but they are too heavy. You hold one tight, then the fire takes you too. Amid the chaos, a sound. Not screaming, singing. A circle of scholars stands together, robes aflame. They hold hands, eyes closed. Their voices rise like prayer, a Jewish elder, an Egyptian woman, a Greek poet. 3 tongues, one song, trembling, radiant. You don't understand the words, but you know what they mean. They are singing to keep the souls of the books alive. Maps cover every wall. A scholar, bloodied, clings to one of India. If we lose this, he cries, the world will forget we existed. The fire surges in. The map curls, burns. Rivers turn to smoke. Mountains dissolve to ash. He screams and runs into the flames, clutching his map. A torch of flesh and memory. Then silence. Metal crashes. Bronze spheres fall. A Babylonian elder holds one still. You cannot burn the stars, he whispers. He looks up through the cracked dome. Real constellations gleam above. For one moment, sky and mind become one. He releases the sphere. It shatters, like a dying constellation. You enter the medical hall. The scent of herbs, resin, and blood fills your lungs. An Egyptian woman clutches a scroll to her chest. We keep the knowledge of life itself. It must not burn. Fire engulfs her. Scrolls turn to smoke. All that remains of human healing becomes dust. You weep. Not for her death, but for the centuries of blindness yet to come. Through the smoke, shadows move. Not scholars, not soldiers, thieves. They steal scrolls, not for truth, but for gold. Sell them east, one shouts. A single scroll for a kingdom. You grab his arm. He slashes at you. You fall. Blood mixes with ash. You watch him vanish into darkness with a treasure of lies. Some knowledge will survive, but twisted, corrupted, and that may be the cruelest death of all. You stand. Every step sinks into gray dust. The library is now a graveyard. The ashes whisper beneath your feet. You taste them. Bitter. Ancient. Like swallowing the memory of humankind. Through the haze, visions appear. Greeks reading Homer by the sea, Egyptian healers binding wounds, Babylonian astronomers tracing stars. They flicker, ghosts of memory. The smoke is not just smoke, it is memory itself. And you are breathing in the soul of mankind. You crawl outside. The harbor burns red. The lighthouse still glows, a trembling beacon above the inferno. You collapse at the shore, cough up smoke. The library roars behind you, a mountain of fire where knowledge once stood. The wind whispers. Wisdom is like the tide. It comes, it goes, it never stays. You shiver, unsure if it's the wind speaking or the ghosts of the library itself. Smoke spreads over Alexandria. Crowds fill the streets, faces pale in the glow. The sea of knowledge is gone. Will we still have books tomorrow, Mother? No one answers. The city trembles. Not from fear, but from grief. That night, you fall asleep by the sea. Salt and ash fill your breath. The last sound you hear, the calm, indifferent rhythm of waves. In your dream, Alexandria blazes once more, brighter than a star, then fades. When you awaken, there is nothing. No books, no library. Only one question, echoing in the dark: what outlives mankind? Paper, memory, or the dream itself? And then in the silence between thought and sleep, a new vision forms. Not the sea, but the jungle. Stone towers rise from vines like blooming lotuses, a city of stone, older than time. You wonder, if even a library can burn, can a city built from stone truly last forever? So lay your head upon the pillow and listen, for in the next episode, the gates of Angkor Wat shall open. Thank you for staying through another long night. Sleep well with Pillow of Time. Far ahead, Angkor Wat rises, not as a monument, but as a living being. It breathes, slowly, steadily, through every crackled in moss. Moonlight glides across the central spire, touching the worn faces of forgotten gods. They say, if you stay inside the temple on a full moon night, you will hear the chant of the stones. You smile softly, but then a warm wind drifts by. The scent of incense, of sandalwood and wet earth weaves through the air. A door of stone creaks open, and you step inside. Inside, time seems to stop. No insects, no wind, only your footsteps echoing off the ancient walls. On the stone, thousands of Apsara dancers are carved in eternal motion. Their faint smiles tremble in the torchlight, watching you, waiting for you to make a mistake. You touch the wall. Cold, yet pulsing softly, as if something beneath it is alive. You pull your hand back. No, it wasn't your imagination. Angkor Wat is breathing. You walk deeper. Endless corridors, columns after columns, ceilings heavy with moss. A lizard darts across your path, its shadow long like a memory. At the end of the hall stands a giant statue of Vishnu. The ancient Khmer believed gods dwell within the stones. And tonight, the stones begin to wake. You stop before a bas-relief, the Battle of Kurukshetra. Hundreds of warriors locked in eternal struggle, a battlefield carved in fire and rock. You raise your torch, and one warrior's eyes seem to flicker, just for a second, then stillness again. Your heart quickens. In the trembling light, the faces of the Apsaras seem to turn toward you, graceful, ghost-like. A whisper rises. You can't tell where it comes from. We were once the light of the world. You came too late. You shiver, spinning around. No one. Only your shadow stretching across the wall, a thread connecting two worlds. You tell yourself it's just imagination, but beneath your feet the ground trembles. A deep drumbeat rises from the belly of the temple, and you realize, tonight, Angkor Wat is not a temple. It is memory, awakening. You reach the central chamber. On your left, unfinished columns, chisels still fresh, as if the workers stopped just yesterday. On your right, stacked stones waiting for hands that will never return. You crouch, touching the carvings. Stone dust clings to your fingers. You bring it to your lips. It tastes like sweat. From the distance comes the faint echo of a hammer. Then another. Then a low, ancient chant in an old Khmer tongue. You turn, searching. No one. Only moving shadows on the walls, the ghosts of the builders who never left. An old voice murmurs, "We built Angkor not with stone, but with our time." You see it clearly now, a relief showing hundreds carrying stones and one figure lying still forever. Their sweat became moss, their dreams became pillars, and you understand, this temple stands because it was built with memory, and memory never dies. You reach the central courtyard. The moon has climbed high, round, silent, unblinking. Its light spills across the stone, cold and clear. Pools of water mirror the heavens. You kneel and see your face among the stars. A wind stirs. Ripples scatter your reflection. Only the moon remains, shattered, drifting. From the central tower, a chant rises. You cannot tell if it's human or an echo from centuries past. The sound coils into your chest, your heartbeat sinking with the rhythm of stone. The Apsaras tilt their heads. The sky seems to tilt with them. And you realize night at Angkor Wat has no time. Every moment repeats, like an endless dance between gods and men. You stand before an ancient staircase covered in moss. Each step feels heavy, slick with the weight of time. The old Khmer believed, to meet the gods, you must climb through the fear within your own heart. You place your foot on the first step. The stone breathes softly beneath your heel. Moonlight glints on the edges of the stairs like 1,000 eyes watching your every move. At the final step, the wind shifts. Before you spreads the sky courtyard of Angkor, a vast emptiness between towers. The jungle below moves like a dark sea. Above, the moon rests atop the central spire, burning like an ancient lamp. From somewhere in the air, you hear a low chant, woven with wind and time. Shadows move around the courtyard, robes flowing, steps weightless, monks or memories of them. One stops before you, raises a hand, and points to the heavens. Every stone is a prayer, every step a memory of the divine. You look up. The sky feels infinite, yet somehow it is bending down toward you. A chill runs through your spine. You can no longer tell where earth ends and heaven begins. You leave the courtyard and walk east. A moat encircles the temple, its water calm, glassy, eternal. The Khmer called it the ocean of milk, the river of beginnings. Along the wall stretches a relief, hundreds of meters long, the churning of the sea of milk. Gods and demons pulling the great serpent Naga, creating the universe itself. You trace the carvings with your fingers, the twisting bodies, the faces of ascetics, and in the center, Vishnu, silent, commanding, holding the cosmos in stillness. Wind brushes the water, ripples distort your reflection. You look down, and the face staring back isn't yours anymore. It's older, dusted with time, and it's watching you. You step back. A whisper rises from the moat, deep like the voice of the earth. When gods and men stop churning, the ocean thickens, and everything falls asleep. The moonlight fractures across the water, memories broken into shards. A bat cuts through the air, carrying with it a breath of cold. And in that instant, you feel it. The universe itself holding its breath, waiting for something to begin or end. You pass through the western gate, where roots of banyan trees weave like veins of the earth. Massive roots clutch the pillars, slide over rooftops like serpents tightening around prey. Half of a Buddha's face appears among the moss, serene, but eyes glowing faintly gold. You touch the forehead, the moss flakes away, revealing a crack, and inside a stone heart, dimly shining. The wind screams through the gaps, a sound between prayer and mourning. The smell of incense, soil, and decay blend into one, sweet, intoxicating, terrifying. You finally understand. The forest does not surround Angkor Wat. It consumes it. It holds the souls of all who built it. A monkey leaps across the roof, shrieking, and vanishes into the dark. You look up. Between the trees, hundreds of tiny lights shimmer like stars. Not monkeys, eyes. The eyes of those who still keep watch. You return to the main path. The southern gate towers before you, 4 colossal faces of stone, each looking toward a different direction, each smiling the same and all staring straight at you. Your heart stumbles in its rhythm. A sudden gust snuffs out your torch. Darkness falls, thick, alive. For an instant, the stone eyes glow. Then a voice, deep, calm, echoing from every side, speaks. You have seen the light of Rome. You have touched the ashes of Alexandria. You have heard the drums of the Forbidden City. Now tell me, do you dare to hear the voice of stone? The words vibrate in your bones. The gate begins to close, slowly, heavily. And from the last sliver of light, a spark flies out, like the soul of the night itself. You know then, you've crossed a threshold no mortal should ever cross. You walk along the northern corridor, where moonlight seeps only through narrow cracks in the ceiling. Each step echoes back, a drumbeat from a forgotten age. On the wall, lines of ancient Khmer script march in silence. You touch them. They're sharp, cold, alive. A flicker of light, a figure appears ahead, an old monk in saffron robes holding a clay lamp. He doesn't look at you. He just murmurs, his voice deep, heavy as the earth itself. Every word here was written with the bones of a craftsman's hand. They did not carve to be remembered. They carved so they wouldn't be forgotten. You lean closer. Between the lines, tiny cuts like signatures. The marks of those who died building this temple. You shiver. The characters start to blur, then fade, turning to smoke, rising toward the dark ceiling. You hear their whispers, hundreds of voices merging into one. Can you read us? Read? Before even stone forgets. You whisper back, repeating the strange words aloud. Your voice echoes, mixing with the wind. And in that moment, you are no longer human. You are part of the breathing wall. The central spire of Angkor Wat, tall as a mountain, silent as eternity. You climb the steps, torch flickering in your trembling hand, inside, near darkness. But in the middle, a single beam of light falls from above, resting on a stone pedestal. Upon it, a black Vishnu, 8 arms, eyes closed. Drops of water fall from the ceiling, landing in its palm, each drop a heartbeat. You touch the stone hand, and suddenly something floods your mind, not sound but memory. You see them, the builders, hauling stones under the sun, sweat mixing with blood. You see King Suryavarman standing atop the tower, his gaze cold, divine. You see prisoners collapsing, buried beneath the floor, so that their souls would lift the temple forever. You open your eyes. Silence again. But beneath your feet, you can almost feel those souls, shifting, whispering beneath the stone. Rain falls, suddenly, without warning. The first drops hit the roofs like tiny bells. Soon, all of Angkor Wat is singing in silver rain. You run through the corridor. Water rushes down the walls, washing away moss, revealing the raw skin of the stone beneath, gray, scarred, and alive. The carved gods now seem to cry. In one corner of the courtyard, young monks gather soaked incense sticks, shielding them under their robes. One looks at you and smiles, sadly. The temple cries too, he says, because it remembers. You don't reply. You just watch the rain carry away leaves, dust, and broken fragments of statues. The sound of it, a lullaby from centuries ago. You realize even stone knows sorrow. Even memory, buried under time, still weeps when the wind returns. Night deepens, the torches fade, their last glow trembling against the statues. You turn to leave, but something stops you, the feeling of being watched. From the darkness, hundreds of stone eyes open. The gods, the apsaras, the Buddhas, all watching. Silent, unjudging. A cold wind sweeps through, the flame goes out. Darkness swallows everything. Then, a whisper, soft and distant, rises from inside your chest. You have seen how knowledge burns. Now see how it sleeps. You close your eyes. The world spins, slowly, gently, like the turning of an ancient wheel. A faint light flickers one last time, then disappears. You follow the stone stairs downward. The air grows damp, cold, heavy, alive. Each step echoes a dozen times, as if the temple itself is repeating your every move. At last, you reach a narrow chamber, the ceiling low, walls breathing moss. In the center, a cracked clay jar filled with dark water. You lean over it. A face stares back, not yours. The weary face of a builder, eyes tired yet proud. He speaks, his voice trembling like wind in a cave. I carved the stones to keep your name, but you forgot mine. When my name fades, the stone will fade. And when the stone fades, memory will die. The face dissolves, swirling into the black water. You rise, feeling the chill crawl into your feet, as though your own soul is being pulled downward into the same ancient dream. You climb back to the surface. The rain has stopped. Mist drapes the statues like a white shroud. In the courtyard, shadows move. Guards, but not men. Their steps too slow. Their eyes too empty. You approach. They are stone sentinels, warriors frozen mid-stance, each holding an ancient weapon. But their eyes burn faintly, embers glowing within the rock. One speaks, a rumble that seems to come from deep beneath the temple. You heard the voices of those forgotten, but do you dare to hear the voices of those who still remember? The statues turn slowly together and look straight at you. That gaze heavy as centuries. It pierces flesh and thought. You collapse. And in that instant, you understand. Angkor Wat was never abandoned. It is guarded by souls that will never leave. You run through the courtyard. Before you stands a colossal tree, its roots twisting through the roof, snakes of stone and wood intertwined. The wind hums through the branches, a sound like a funeral horn. On the trunk, faint words are carved. Stone does not die. Man does not live, but memory flows on. You place your hand upon the bark, and suddenly you see hundreds of builders working beneath the sun, laughing, singing. Then the storm comes. The forest grows, the people fade, and the tree rises from their very bones. You realize Angkor Wat is not a ruin. It is a forest grown from those who were never buried. The wind passes through the roots and whispers one last time, do not remember us with words, remember us with silence. Morning creeps in. The first light touches the towers, turning stone to gold. The mist thins and there stands Angkor Wat, majestic, still, and utterly alone. You sit beside the reflecting pool. The water mirrors the sky and the temple. Two worlds, one of gods, one of men. You whisper, will all knowledge fade someday? The wind answers, soft as a lullaby. No, it only sleeps, in stone. You smile. The sun rises, and in the light you see them, the old builders, the king, the monks, walking slowly through the mist until they vanish. Epilogue. As you leave Angkor Wat, the last breeze of dawn brushes your shoulder. You turn back. The spires still stand, pointing to the heavens like the fingers of time itself. You wonder, if in Rome knowledge was carved in marble, in China hidden in ritual, in Alexandria written on papyrus, and in Angkor Wat etched in stone, then somewhere else, where knowledge is sung, woven in sound, does it live longer than stone? Lay your head down, close your eyes, and listen. Because next time the doors of Baghdad will open, where knowledge was born and burned. Sleep well with Pillow of Time. 4 civilizations, now only whispers remain. If you're still awake, let the ancient dreams keep talking to you. Sleep well with Pillow of Time.